Hey guys, just jumping in here quickly. The first couple of minutes of this podcast where we did the normal sort of intro to our guest, Marco Rojas, didn't actually record. So it starts a little bit different, but doesn't affect the quality of the conversation at all. So yeah, without further ado, Mr. Marco Rojas. Anyway, let's carry that on where we left off. So we always like to start these things off with a bit of background on you. Obviously, you're born in Chile.
No, I was born in New
You
Zealand.
were born in New Zealand?
Yeah, dad was born in Chile.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk us about your upbringing.
Yeah, so mine was really, really great, really privileged. My father's obviously was a different story, and I think a lot of the recent time, and I've been speaking a lot about their plight, because I do think that in order to understand me, it's important to understand those before me. But I was born in Hamilton, Waikato Hospital, I believe. Grew up here with a few trips back to Chile. Had a half Chilean, half Kiwi upbringing, so a bit of a mix. And was in Hamilton playing football, going to school, and just kind of having a pretty good life up until 17 when I went to Wellington. So it's pretty normal childhood, aside from playing every weekend and training all the time.
Yeah. Oh, how good. What school did you go to around here?
High school, Hamilton's Fraser High School.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was just down the road from where we lived, so it was easy. Mairo Intermediate and Aberdeen was the primary school. Yeah,
Aberdeen.
or like on the west side of Hamilton. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Aberdeen. Yeah. He's gonna hate me bringing this up, but is one of my good friends, Aaron Harrison. Mm-hmm. So he said he used to play football with you at Aberdeen Primary School.
Yeah, the name rings. I know the name rings a very strong bell.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely remember. Yeah, like before. I think we would play before school, lunchtime, after school as well,
Yeah,
and
okay.
occasionally they put like a team together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very small place, small world. Yeah.
Yeah, I was crazy when you brought it up. I said I was said I had you lined up for a guest to some of my mates, and he randomly remembered. He was like, "Oh, I used to go to primary school with him." So yeah, he gave it up a little bit more than you did. But okay, Fraser High School. My college team actually just beat them in a grading game. So
yeah, we weren't that great either when I was there.
Okay.
We were in the top division, but I think Boys High used to clean us up, and St. Paul's, because Woodsy was there at the same time.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
They were good. And I think a few years they didn't even have a team. It's never been really a strong football team. But congratulations.
Well, I played for St. John's growing up. So I'm born 91 as well. So we possibly may have crossed paths.
Yeah, we might have had a more competitive game than the other ones.
Yeah. I never quite made the first 11, so maybe it wouldn't have been that, but maybe a grading game here or there.
Colts as well, the junior stuff.
Yeah, I played all the junior stuff, yeah.
We might have,
Yeah. Oh, how good. Yeah, claim to fame is I think I played one game against Woodsy.
Yeah. And, he's different gravy, wasn't he?
Man, even back then you could tell. Yeah. He was so good, man. Yeah. But no, that's good. So did you ever live in Chile or anything like that, or was it just visiting family or?
Only when I played there recently in 2022.
Yeah.
The longest I'd been there otherwise was 3 months when I was 15, I believe.
Right.
Went with my family, stayed with my grandma for a longer period.
Yeah.
And kind of like it's like an overstay, but like lived, to an extent.
Yeah, 3 months is a bit.
Yeah, 3 months was good. Yeah, I trained with football clubs. I technically lived with my family for that short period over there, experienced what Chile was like, played on the streets, and just I remember it being like a really good time.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So growing up in New Zealand, football's not, especially during the 90s and early 2000s, football's not the number one sport. Even these days, it's still not the number one sport, even though football is a lot bigger than what it was back then. Was it always football with you? Is that always been the passion, or was there any other direction you were going down?
Yeah, firstly, I think football is a little bit misconstrued in this country. I believe, you might have to fact check me on this one, but in the junior ranks, like it's a very popular game. I think what makes it not as big is obviously the the um, the avenues, the pathways at the top. When I started it with the Phoenix in what was it, 2008, 2009, around the World Cup,
Right.
that was the only professional team. So naturally, it makes sense when you have like Super Rugby and everything else that it becomes a bit smaller. But I think like growing up and playing football in New Zealand, there's an abundance of teams and kids playing. I don't know what it's like now, but I remember not lacking any opportunity, and there was some really talented players at that stage. Um, Obviously, the emphasis on football in general is not that big, and that's where the Chilean family kind of came in, and
Yeah.
the passion for football all through my family, uncles, cousins, my father. He was at Ngarawahia. I grew up watching
Oh, okay. Yeah.
watching him play, and I was always around the football field. I guess it was a natural progression for me. We'd watch the Chilean stuff on TV, go to the games when we were over there. So I'm really grateful that I had that experience. I think got to see it from another side.
Oh, 100%. What were the games like over in Chile?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I think I went to two.
Yeah.
One was the team going to watch the team that I eventually played for,
Is that Colo Colo?
Colo Colo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And chaos, just
Yeah.
full stadium. I think it was a rival game. Anything's possible in those. Recently, there's been unfortunate incidences of like just crowd chaos. I remember when I was there, a couple of times parts of the stadium like fell because supporters were on like just all over the shop, all over the stadium. Just chaos. I remember it just being lots of people, very loud, really passionate. I think we went and watched another game. There was a couple of smaller teams, so not to the same scale, but just the passion they have there for their game it's like life. It's life.
Yeah.
It's life for them. It's insane.
So, some of those smaller teams in any league seem to drag more supporters or at least more chaos. There's I can't remember the name, but there is a league in Australia, and I think that one of their teams there. I mean, every weekend it's flares and
The NPL.
Is it? Yes, the NPL. Yes,
Yeah, particularly, I know a little bit about the Victorian one. I think a lot of those clubs are cultural clubs, like different ethnicities.
Right, okay.
Perhaps Croatian, Serbian,
Yeah.
probably South American and stuff like that, and they have a strong cultural tie. So I think I was playing for the Phoenix. I think it was my last game. The Western United won away. I didn't know it was my last game at that stage of that season, and the boys were watching an NPL game on the TV, on streaming, and it was 2,000 people, I believe, which numbers-wise isn't a lot, but it was like because of the pitch in the stadium, it was packed and it was so loud, and it was pretty amazing for that.
Yeah. Oh, crazy, man.
Yeah, football. Yeah, football's nuts. If you get a chance to experience it around the world.
Yeah.
I know you spoke of England beforehand and Europe, South America, wherever. Even Auckland. I think Auckland's brought in something pretty fantastic and fascinating when you think of crowd and the experiences overseas. Stuff like that. Just so many people that go from a rugby background or another sport background to watch a game are always just like.
It's so different.
It's so unlike anything else.
Yeah. I think to add on that, if you're a rugby fan and you think it's a soft sport, like that's fine. You can think that, but still go to a game because the experience, like it's a whole day event.
Yeah.
Especially in England, like there's if you say you've got an away day, you could be on the train at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Having your first whatever drink you want. It's the whole day, and then you get home late, and the football was a part of it, but the whole day is why you do it.
Yeah.
And I think Auckland, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm a season ticket holder at Auckland, and I love it. I can't wait for the weekends. I can't wait to just, because you get to see your mates and have a drink and, watch your football team win, which is good. Why do you think, we will get into your playing career, but just on that, I mean, Wellington Phoenix have definitely had some massive games. In the semi-final last year was one of them that they sold it out, I think. Why do you think, being they're the only professional New Zealand team up until this season, why do you think they haven't had the same sort of pull for their crowds?
Good question. I don't know. Like it's just like all opinions, really. You could look at it across the length of time, but I think it's relative to all sports. I went to an All Blacks game in Wellington that was not even half full, I think, most recently. I think the New Zealand culture is very different when it comes to sports. And I think even the Chiefs, I don't know, have you been, like, when they're very successful, I think they brought very good crowds in, and the Warriors when they're very successful, and sometimes like the Phoenix when it's not as successful, like it feels like a bit of an entertainment thing, which is the right of the fan. Like they're paying to go and see something that's exciting. And so I just think that I think those kind of things affect it, and the longevity of the Phoenix too, and that perhaps I honestly think that even if the Phoenix or Auckland or whoever were successful for large periods of times, there would still be some struggles with crowd.
Yeah.
Although hopefully maybe Auckland will come and show that it's completely different and will always be like this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's hard to tell, if Auckland weren't so successful this year, would they have the same, pull?
Maybe. But like I hope so.
Me too.
I think, and for Wellington too, I hope this season kind of brings that little whatever it is between cities and stuff, because we all see the football, like we all watch, like you said, go to game days overseas, see it on TV. Like how cool is it when you see stadiums like that, noisy as, and for a player, it's amazing.
Yeah, I bet. How was that as a player? It's packed crowd.
It's everything,
Yeah.
like home games. It's incredible. It's energy. It's support. It's like it lifts you up. I think Chile was by far for me the most exciting crowds. Victoria had a very good stint with crowds at Amy, particularly at the beginning when the A-League, like, we're bringing in numbers.
Yeah.
Like Amy was 20, 25, 26, like almost 75% of the games. Love that stadium when it's full.
Yeah.
So good. And then away games where it's probably more nerve-wracking, things against you. And, sometimes it can get to you, sometimes it doesn't. I remember sometimes even when you're playing, like it's just noise, and you're so focused on the game that you don't recognize, you could forget that there are that many thousand people in there, but some other occasions where you're like, "Oof, this is cool."
Yeah. 100%. So if we take it back to the start of your playing career, was it straight to Wanderers? Were you playing for Wanderers while you're at college as well, or did you leave college, go to Wanderers? How was Wanderers for you? Because I mean, at the moment, they're doing quite well.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably shouldn't. They got relegated last season, didn't
But
they?
they're doing well.
They're doing well this season. I think they're
that's
top three.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. But how was the Wanderers experience for you?
Brief. 2-3 years, I think. So I think when I was coming up, they created under-17s league.
Yeah.
And I started Wanderers in that before I'd been at Western United and Melville. In the youth.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was cool. Got into the first team. That was just before I made into Waikato FC. I think Cozzy was my coach at that stage. With some help, trying to remember who the assistants were. And I played like 10 or 11 games at the end of the season. We were struggling to keep up from being relegated.
Right, yeah.
So it was cool. It was exciting. It was my first like men's football experience. And it's a good club. Good club, good people, and I came across one of them yesterday, Gooch, who's been there a long time. Like some of those people have been there a long time, and they care about their clubs. It's a lot. It happens a lot in Hamilton. They're really passionate about the clubs that they're in. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, 100%. That Gooch, he's on the board there.
Yeah, go deep.
Go deep. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah, he's a regular here at the other side of this bar.
Yeah. Well, he's been around Hamilton a long
Yeah,
time. I
yeah.
think he owns a cafe in the center or
Yeah,
something.
Machina,
So,
or yeah.
but good, nice guy, and I saw him yesterday. And just an example of like he was there when I got there and still there now. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people like that, Melville, wherever it is,
Yeah,
Narawal
yeah.
here, like yeah.
No, that's great. That was leading me on. You've already just brought it up, but the Waikato team, it's no longer a thing anymore. Waibot brought it around. What year were you playing for it?
2009,
Yeah.
maybe 8.
Did it disband? I want to say 13, 14,
The
15?
Waikato team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because you obviously played for it, and there's some big names that played for it, like Shea Bunce, for example. I think he even managed it at one stage. But I was talking to someone the other day about why haven't they ever brought it back to sort of strengthen, Waikato's position in when you get up to like the National League side of things. How was your experience playing for Waikato, and do you think something like that should be brought back, or would it damage other clubs?
Well, they've completely changed the scheme, right? And that's my understanding. So it's just like, there are Waikato representatives, just not all one together.
Right. Yeah.
That's what the National League is in a sense, right? It's a totally different ball game. Whether they can bring that back, I'm not sure. What I remember of it was just it was a very small tournament, 8, 9, 10 teams maybe.
Okay, yeah.
And that was pretty brief too. It was one season, and a lot of it was off the bench. I think for me, I can't remember. I wonder if Bunsey was even playing at that stage.
He could
Just
have
coming
been.
in. I'm not sure. For
He had a
some
long
reason, he's
career.
around
He had a
there.
very long career.
And a few other names. It was just I kind of see it now as like just the beginning and opportunity and memories, and they're not real like clear ones, but I do have some little ones of the stuff around the games, and I remember coming on for some of them and just kind of running around and enjoying what I was doing, and that was pretty cool.
Was it playing at Waikato Stadium then?
No, I think at that stage we were playing at Centennial Park in Narawahia.
Right.
With maybe an occasional game, but I don't know. I think the only time I've played at Waikato Stadium was for exhibition game, I believe, where somehow some Chileans or South American team was put up against another team that English, or I don't know where from.
Right.
And they needed extra players, so I was brought along, and I was like 15 or something. And that was it. That was the only time.
That's so cool.
Which is crazy. I know the All Whites have played there since as the Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to play there since.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Auckland come down and do a few games here.
Because
I know the Phoenix obviously go down to Christchurch and adopt that as a home game once a season. So it'd be cool for actually, what would be cooler is if the A League would bring in a B League, and then we can get. But I'm sure there's some roadblocks there somewhere.
Pretty complicated, and it's easy to just go, why isn't this happening, without understanding the.
That's me. Yeah.
Behind the scenes, it's very hard. Although I'm sure it could be a little bit. I probably agree with most people's grievances. I just don't know what it looks like behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, it would be hard. But as a fan, I will take the stance of I wish there was a B League, because how cool would it be to see Te Aomuru Football Club in the at least be like you're on that pyramid, because that's what's cool about the English League, is that no matter where you are in the country, even though it probably will never happen, there's always that you could be in that league. Like anyone can do it.
Yeah, it would be pretty hard though, because some of those NPL, like lower Australian clubs, big machines, like I think probably have more financial viability than some A-League clubs. So you would be competing against a lot of that, and I think that would swallow up quite a few New Zealand.
You have to
clubs.
come down.
But the dream is real.
Come down to Anchor Park, mate. You see how we roll.
Yeah.
Waikato League One. No.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Enough about the pipe dreams. Yeah, man. So from there, Wellington Phoenix. That's got to be pretty surreal. Again, at the time, the only professional A-League team in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I know you went on to have a pretty amazing career after that.
Thank you.
Some big names on that list. But Wellington Phoenix, first professional club. How does that even come about? Got an agent or?
That was a Yellow Fever scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they did for maybe 4 or 5 years, I think.
Right.
It was a week of training. I was playing for Waikato, and they did there was a vote, I believe, 5 or 6 names of what they said were talented young players in New Zealand. A couple of my friends were on the list. One of my friends, high school friends, had gone the year before,
Right.
and it was an experience to be with a professional team. And before I was supposed to go, like, I can't remember what month it was, before the World Cup, and I decided I was going to play 3 games the weekend before and then go on the Sunday, and naturally I'd taken on too much and injured myself in the first game, was ruled out of going, and 5 weeks later, with cortisone injection and everything, went to to train.
Yeah.
Where at that time they were at the World Cup, the Kiwi boys.
Yeah.
So there was a lack of numbers, which meant I got involved more, did all right. We played Melbourne Victory in Queenstown.
Yeah.
And I played some of that friendly and then signed the contract.
Oh, wow.
If not on the bus on the way back, then in the hotel afterwards.
Oh, wow. That's pretty.
So that's how it came about, yeah.
Yeah, you hear so many of those stories where I think Jazz Hotham last week was saying the same thing. Like just before they're about to do something amazing for their career, they get injured, and then it must be when you've got that injury, you're thinking, oh well, that's it, or were you pretty determined that it wasn't going to be?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know what you feel, but like just the coincidences in the life and the universe and these different things. Like if I'd have gone when I was supposed to, maybe I would have trained like my friend went the year before and barely got involved in training because they had all of their players. It was just like, hey, this is a like young kid, he wants an experience. Whereas for me, it was like, whether I did well, I don't know, but it was like, oh, we're missing numbers. Can you,
Can you jump in? Yeah.
So I ended up playing I think I did full trainings. And I wouldn't have had that maybe if I hadn't been injured. But yeah, I remember, there are some things I remember clearly. Waikato, not so much that I remember, because I remember Dad just being so angry at me because he's like, just don't play any games and go to the training. Like, it could be a trial. And I was like, no, I want to play these games first, and didn't make it through.
Do you remember what those games were?
It was Fraser, and it was nothing. It was the only game I was going to play for Fraser, and it was Wanderers in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then I think a kick around the next day. It was who I was. And it just worked out maybe a little bit better for me at the end.
Yeah, exactly. It worked out in the end. So,
but crazy, yeah. So it was a scholarship. I had no agent. It's just I was about to go to Chile, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Try my luck there, and just got this.
Yeah. I mean, and then it exploded from there. How long were you at Phoenix for before you moved to Melbourne?
2 years. So I signed a 2-year contract. It kind of didn't take off until a year and a half. I barely played. Twice off the bench, maybe, in a whole year and a half.
Yeah.
And then someone got injured in the first team. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then just started playing, and then it took off. Yeah.
Oh, man. And then how does Melbourne come into it from there? I mean, obviously, I've never been a professional footballer. How does that all work? Do Phoenix come along and say, hey, mate, we're transferring you, or?
Nah, the rest of it's done by agents and representatives, and sometimes if you're doing well, clubs will come to those representatives. Nowadays, some of them have like multiple players or a handful of players,
Yeah.
And if they can shop them out too and be like, hey, it's a club, it's a connections thing, really. And sometimes you do really well and they kind of come to you.
Yeah.
That's what Melbourne did. They called us up was the end. So I played against them. I played against them 3 times, I think,
Yeah.
by that stage, and done really well
Yeah.
in those
Nice.
games. Probably it's just meant to be. And then, because in the end, I spent like 6 years on and off, but 6 seasons at the club.
Was it an easy decision to want to go to Melbourne, or?
At that time? Oh, not particularly. But yes and no. Like, obviously, I recognize what opportunity had been given to me at the Phoenix and where it came from. I've kind of said it throughout the rest of my career, and even when I came back, like, I'm really grateful for that Yellow Fever scholarship. But what was offered at the end of that season, like, I've seen things written, and it wasn't entirely what like they had offered
Right.
initially, and compared to what was at Melbourne, and the idea of they were a pretty decent club, and
Yeah.
since the time I've been there and the years that I haven't, they've won the leagues, they've finished second, they've kind of just been a little bit more times than the Phoenix have, so it was like that bigger fish kind of thing. And when I started my career and throughout my career, I was striving to play as high as I could, and so it felt. But I wasn't really thinking all of this at that time. Just looking at it in hindsight now, it was more like, this is opportunity. There was a good offer and everything, and I was kind of ready to go.
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, Melbourne is probably where you had your most success. Looking at your stats, I mean, all I can do is look at your stats. I don't know what's happening off the field or on the field or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you scored a lot of goals for Melbourne. So how was and like you said, you were there for 6 seasons.
Yeah, on and off. Yeah.
Yeah. How was the Melbourne experience for you there?
Yeah, all different. Like 19 the first time, 25 the second time, 29 the third time.
Yeah.
All different. Oh, was it? Yeah, 29. All different. All with pockets of success individually and as a team, or close to as a team. Very cool. I love the city.
Yeah, it is a cool city.
My first experience, my family came over, so that was really cool for me at that stage. The other two, like living in Melbourne as a mid-20s and late 20s, very cool. And football, like I said, I love Amy. It'd be one of my, like, when it's pumping, it's one of my favorite. Like, walking out as the home team.
Yeah.
For derbies, for Sydney games, for the FFA Cup finals, like the other finals, the opening days where we played at Etihad. I think it's called Marvel now, and 40,000 people. Like, really cool.
Yeah, it's the only away game I've been to is a Melbourne game. I got family. Well, my mum and dad live in Melbourne, so on Easter weekend, Auckland were playing them. So I thought, I'll go spend the long weekend there. Just as a city, it's such a sporting city. Like because it's also got quite a like academic sort of feel to it, and it's one of the older cities. But when the AFL's on, you know about it because there's people everywhere. Amy Stadium itself is so cool. Yeah, like, it is probably one of the coolest stadiums I've been to. But also that people going on about the Port, and I'm an Auckland supporter, like the Port go hard. But man, the home crowd at Melbourne is pretty good. Yeah, they had that home. I mean, when I was there for the Auckland game, they had both ends sort of packed out with singing, and the crowd connection they have is pretty cool. Yeah. So
fantastic. I think they've had a lot of trouble of late too, actually, between club and fan, whatever it is, league or whatever. So it's not quite what it used to be often. Right. But it's been known for a long time that they are very good. Very good crowd and very important to the A-League.
Nice. I just hope they lose this weekend. So. No worries.
We'll just leave it at that.
No worries. We'll put a bet on off camera. No worries. But then from there, so this is sort of, because I never really watched the A-League growing up. It was all about the Premier League growing up in England and following United. Never really. That's why I'm
you got
Auckland
silver lining coming up.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
That's another conversation in its own. But I never really watched the A-League. because I mean, my only closest team was Wellington, and it's a 6-hour drive away, so I couldn't really call them my team. But when you transferred to Stuttgart, that like, I mean, it's hard not to hear about that. You know, whether or not it was what it lived up to be for yourself. You know, that's when I think we were saying before we tried to record it, but you know, I that's when I would buy you on FIFA for United. You know, because it's a New Zealander that's playing for, you know, in one of the top 5 leagues in the world. How does that news sit with you? I mean, Stuttgart coming in like that.
Then,
Yeah.
honestly, I was really excited, but at the same time a little bit like blasé or something, whether it was like a coping mechanism for me to just humility or whatever it is. It kind of, I really probably didn't celebrate in the ways that I probably should have. Like, I felt like I had a long way to go, put it that way. So going there seemed like a really big step, but also it's just like, okay, I'm just taking my next step along the path. Turned out to be a little bit different than what I'd probably dreamed of, but that's football and that's life occasionally, and it helped me learn a lot of different lessons. But that moment, trying to flash back a little bit, see if I can give you. I think it's probably just part of that rush, you know, like the first year in Victory, our team had been pretty poor, finished 8th or 9th. I was in and out of the team. We had Harry Kuehl, we had Carlos Hernandez, we had big names. We weren't functioning well together. Ange came in the second year, completely did his thing, which was wiping half a team, I think, and creating space for others, and part of that space was myself. Then it went very quickly. It was one season, and then I went, and it kind of, I think those first few years, it was like, even at the Phoenix, it was like 10 games, and then I went to Victory, and then it was like one season. Like, it was 2, but it was only one where it really, and so it just felt part of that. And what an experience! Like, some of the players there, I think 3 years before that won the league and had been in the Champions League. And so we still had players towards the end of their contracts, but from that time, we had young players coming through that have gone on to play at like Real Madrid and Chelsea and and things like that. So it was a cool experience. Very, I can't even really say up and down, pretty down for most of it football-wise, but great to kind of look back on it and understand that it probably, I reckon that year, the second Victory stint around like COVID and A-League and Chile were probably my most, like the years and moves and clubs that have marked most my career since I've been processing it. Since leaving the Phoenix and after another injury, those are the ones that probably had the biggest impact on me, I think, sitting here now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. That you can reflect on it like that now, because like you say, at the time, 2013, what you were doing, early 20s?
Yeah, I was a kid.
Yeah.
And we're emotional maturity of like some of us in football in the men's space as well. 2021, like it's a crazy world, right? Like you think of most of us at that age and what we've experienced maybe is not a lot in life, and then I'm very fortunate for the success that I had, but all of a sudden you have things that you kind of probably at that stage not really aware of or blasé about or don't know how to navigate. But I learned a lot.
No, so how does that work walking into Stuttgart? Because you didn't play for their first team
At all.
all.
In an official game, at all.
Yeah. So how does that work? Obviously, you're going to get time to prove yourself. So are you doing preseason games? Are you playing for the second team, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's two parts. I think one part player and one part club and coaching staff. So when I first arrived, I got injured, fractured the metatarsal,
Oh,
the
wow.
middle
Yeah.
one, and I think the second week of training. And by the time I came back, the first coach was gone. And so
Right.
like yeah, so you're up kind of up against it already. And that season we had 4 or 5 different coaches. But yeah, it's preseason training. It's proving a point. I signed 4 years. I've spoken a lot to myself and family around me and stuff, and figured that if that was the same case, if I was advising a player now, I'd say, hey, stay like most of those years, prove like so you can prove a point. But I remember the second preseason, I wanted to play. Felt like I proved myself enough and to maybe get a bit of game time. And I went and spoke to that coach at the time, who didn't last long after that. And he said, "Oh, yeah, we're not really looking at you for game time anytime soon." And so I decided that I had to leave at that stage.
But looking back on it now, you're saying that you would have. You think
Yeah.
you would have stayed?
Well, I think so many different. I don't know if I would have stayed at that stage, but
Yeah.
I just mentioned to a player, hey, just
Yeah.
because like that coach got fired like
Yeah, and that could have
2
been.
months
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
And that was my first full preseason without an injury. Like, if I feel like if you sign 2, 3, 4 year contracts, there's a reason for that, And sometimes it takes. Look at the Phoenix. Look at Victory. It took me half of my contract to, and I think the understanding is it takes quite a while to get accustomed to a new place. So within a year, I was moving on, where maybe it could have taken me 2 or 3 to get used to the country,
Yeah.
living abroad, and
Yeah.
giving it a real go. But my lesson to learn, and
Yeah.
now it's something I can maybe use to help other people.
Yeah. Nice. And you went to some pretty cool clubs after
Yeah,
that.
after that,
Yeah. Yeah.
I had good, yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of bounced around, and I went to a second division club after that, which I hated. Not because it was a bad club, just a bad experience. So,
Right.
also why I probably say some of those things now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice, man. If we fast forward that, there's a few.
Yeah,
I mean,
go for it.
there's a few clubs you played for there, but the one I did want to pick out, and it's probably a bit more recent, but and you've already touched on it, but going to Chile, playing for Colo Colo. Am I saying that right? I don't want to.
Yeah, that's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know that's pretty special to you. Obviously, I thought you were born in Chile, but I mean, obviously you're quite connected with the Chilean side. Yeah. How was that? Signing with that must have been pretty special.
Yeah, it was extremely special. It caught me at a stage in my life where I was, I kind of was starting to join the two parts, like football and person. And for both of them, that's where they wanted to be since I was 17, 16. I think because I'd been there, I was going to go there when the Phoenix came. And so like it was almost like that version of me was coming back when that offer arrived. But it was very hard to accept the offer. We'd just lost the World Cup qualifying game in Qatar. I was pretty burnt out. And I really ummed and ahed about it. Not because of the scheme, like the club's huge. And after a bit of time, it was like, no, I have to go and do it. And so cool. So many ups, so many downs. Like the rest of my career, but fantastic. I got to live there. Having lived there is a reason I feel really comfortable to go back now.
Nice, yeah.
Soon. Met beautiful people. Saw my family, which I'll go and see again. Found all sorts of things. Like football-wise, got to sit. I think it was the first time in my career I'd felt okay-ish about sitting on the bench. Like I wasn't happy, but sitting on the bench, I could look around and hear the crowd and fully immerse myself in what that experience was. That soon ran out, and obviously I didn't want to be sitting on the bench all the time.
Yeah.
But for brief moments, it was like that. So I think it speaks to how special the occasion was for me, the year. But there was so much in it, so much in it. I'm very looking forward to going back. For the 6 weeks real soon. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when we were messaging, you said you were going back.
Yeah.
So is that just for a holiday, extended holiday?
Well,
Or
I have some big ideas, but I would love that to take some football stuff back too, some community work.
nice,
So I'm
yeah,
kind of just seeing what's out there, what help I might be able to get, and even if it's just take a ball and some cones to a neighborhood that haven't seen a professional footballer or don't have gear,
yeah.
just create a tournament for them for the day, or
That's so
just
cool.
take
Yeah.
them through some coaching, whatever it is, just or play on the streets, like whatever. It's for me as much as it is for them, but hopefully it can be something special for them.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah, that's heaps. I mean, football just connects the world, man.
Yeah,
That
it
sounds
does.
so fucking cheesy, but
Yeah,
it truly does.
Yeah.
If you've been to any underprivileged areas, it's usually someone kicking a ball around. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, it's just cool. It's cool what it can do.
Mm.
And then let's bring it back to this season. Got cut short. Is that through injury?
I'd rather talk about the other stuff, the societal issues, but sure, let's go. This season.
We're not that kind of a deep podcast,
Yeah, right.
unfortunately.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
This season.
Yeah. So it was cut short by injury. Is that right? Or
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
But what was the driving factor to come back to the A League? 33 years old.
Stop playing to come back.
Because 33 is not old in football anymore. It's
well, I stopped when I was for 6 months when I was 32.
right.
To the A League opportunity, to football because I kind of missed playing it. Yeah. Even now, like I miss playing it. It's just working out how at what level I can do it. You know, professional. It's full time. It's 6 days. It's 7 days. It's very different. I love playing the game. I've struggled often with the intensity of the doing as a job. Yeah.
Well, this weekend we got a Waikato Cup game. So if you just want to, just come. We'll get you a 1 day. Listen, 10 minutes off the bench. You haven't been training. Listen.
Yeah, I've been saying no. And also the injury that you spoke of, I'm still healing from that. So on both counts, I've been saying, no, I'm not ready mentally or physically to jump back out there just yet.
No worries. All right.
I appreciate the invitation.
Hey, no worries.
Yeah.
We tried, team. We tried. So it's difficult because obviously the injury and that, but you obviously didn't see it happening like that. We did touch on it before. Was it always going to be Phoenix that you were coming back to, or did you have was Melbourne on your radar as well, or how does that work coming back from not being involved in football for a few months, getting back into professional level? Yeah, do you contact them? Do they contact you?
So when I left Chile, for most transfer windows, when things weren't going great, I think I had contact with the Phoenix. Not me, but like representative team.
Yeah.
And Victory too. Like it was always, I came back those different times, but it was always like, would you like to come back? And I think that came from the seasons that I'd had in the A League. Like really fortunate to have done well, and to kind of have that reputation. So that reached out when I left Chile alongside Brisbane too at that stage, and I'd said no thank you. Like on a personal note, my grandma was sick. She was going through a terminal cancer journey, and I was feeling burnt out, and I'd been to Chile, and I just felt at that time, no, I don't. I just want to rest, or I just want to be at home. I remember I've spoken about it since I left Europe the second time. Important thing for me was playing football professionally and being as close as I could to family, and so each option I kind of weighed it up with those things, and obviously the offer that was on the table is still important. What the clubs were saying, otherwise I would have just come to New Zealand from the get-go.
Yeah.
And then in January, I got the inkling to kind of want to play again, and hence the A-League, hence Australia, and then Wellington. And that was just opportunity. Obviously, the Wellington one factored in that I'd been there, that I had the connection, and I really wish it had worked out different to what it did, because
Yeah, of course, yeah.
obviously the gratitude for that initial opportunity when I was 17 is not lost on me. But it went like it did, and for the season too, for our team, like not much you can do about that. Tried to do everything that we could. Tried to do everything that I could, including coming back really quickly, and just didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah, it is unfortunate, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go into league positions and stuff like that.
No.
Like, there's enough podcasts out there that talk about, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you spoke about rugby people that say that the football game's soft or something like that. Like I think like it's just what it is, and it's what makes it so beautiful, what makes it so passionate, like passion related, is there, and they're mixing loyalty in clubs to freedom and of movement, freedom of selection, and all these different things, like same as the rest of our society. It's pretty fascinating, and it's created an atmosphere in New Zealand probably that no one saw coming between Auckland and Wellington, and then just Auckland itself.
Yeah. They are pretty cool games to go to. They're the derby.
Not the ones that we went to, but yeah, for different reasons. Yeah, the crowd's great. Yeah,
yeah. From a crowd perspective, they were pretty
they
good.
even got us before the game, so it was.
Yeah, sorry. So they held up your. We will wrap this up, but I did see the video of that. So they held up their bus. It's top tier shithousery. I love that.
Yeah.
It was just as simple as it was. They just got in the way.
Yeah, just by whatever. I think it was chance. We were there at the same time, and I think like compared to with the All Whites traveling for Peru, and there were Chilean games where we played derbies, and there was one derby we went with a different bus, and they thought we were the opposition in our own city, and
oh really?
smashed two of the windows. Yeah, so like having people stop the bus just to, it was good, like you said, good. It was shithousery, and it was great, and it brings an atmosphere that wasn't here in New Zealand before.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool seeing the whole away section all yellow.
Yeah, that was. Shout out to the fans that travelled and or came out from their homes in Auckland or wherever to fill that up. The only thing for us is obviously the result, and not being able to give or for me is not being able to give much back to like those fans that were there, and the ones that were at Westpac, like the Yellow Fever, or has been a stronghold for that whole time in the A-League, like in Wellington. Through size, okay, it comes and goes, but everyone recognises that it's an important factor of the Phoenix, and so shout out to them and how they showed up for those games. Yeah, that's pretty special. And the home game in Wellington, the first one.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And never say never. Like I said, Vardy's 38 and he's only just stopped at Leicester. He hasn't stopped football. Hey man, you got years left in you.
I've been processing it at the moment, and like I've just attempted to be really honest in kind of everything. I'll go to Chile and enjoy. Maybe I'll play with on the street or like the kids or something. Create those things, and if my ankle feels good and other things, mentally I feel up to it, then we'll see what happens. But it's kind of can go for me. It can go either way at the moment. And, I'm just grateful to be here with family and stuff. But
no, that's awesome. Well, we'll keep the door open at Te Amuru.
Just in case. Yeah.
But listen, Marco, I'm sure there's a million other things we could talk about, but I think that'll do just nicely today. So thank you so much for coming and taking the time out of your day. Bit of physio after this, is it?
Yeah.
On the ankle?
Gym work, but from rehab sense, not traditional weights and
yeah. No, very good. Oh well, look after yourself, mate, and until next time.
Thank
Cheers,
you very
mate.
much.